the limitless potential for cruelty that human beings are capable of. And this potential should never be underestimated. Okay? If there is one thing that you can rely on, if there is one thing that you can depend on as a foundation that will never disappoint, it has to be mankind's limitless potential for cruelty. This will never disappoint. It will always deliver, and it will even surprise you, which happened to me. I am, even to this day, surprised by the type of evil that people are capable of, right? When I was younger, I used to watch a lot of documentaries on war, on all of these atrocities committed for whatever reason, etc. And of course, also from my observations, from my life experience, of course, the conclusion is that something's terribly wrong here. Evil is afoot. It has always been here. And, I thought that I knew, just how vile and grotesque we can be. But then again, I stumble upon some information, a video, or whatever, and I'm just blown away, because even though I assumed that I knew, all of it, I stumble upon an atrocity committed here or there, and the details are unspeakable. Unspeakable. They keep you up at night, right? Golly, it's just, it's something to be in awe of, right? In awe of, because you have to realize that the only thing that's keeping this evil in people at bay is, the comfort, the content that a civilization provides. Okay? People have to be distracted. They have to be occupied with whatever silly nonsense. It doesn't matter. They have to be occupied because, of course, if people don't have anything to do, the animal, the beast, comes to the surface, and all hell will be loosed upon the lands, right? All it takes is for somebody to push certain buttons, right? And I keep saying this. All you need are the right conditions, the right appropriate circumstances, and people will show you their true colors. People need an excuse to commit, the most heinous of crimes imaginable and beyond what can be imagined. This is fact, right? Society as a whole, is a joke, and every day you can stumble upon scenes where those conditions and circumstances were met, and it all went to hell. And maybe this topic here, this video, should serve as advice for people who have a tendency, for whatever reason, to harass, bully, taunt, tease, mess with other people who are, let's say, weaker or whatever. You know who they are. They are everywhere. And some might say that it's harmless. Well, I disagree, right? Because one day, you see, these people who are bullies, in every category of society, these people, they grow into it as a hobby. They adopt it as a hobby, and they think that there is nothing wrong with behaving in this way because it is harmless. It is just, playful, rough and tumble, whatever, right? But I'm here to tell you that you might have the luck, as unfortunate as it may be, to pick somebody who has been, messed with his or her entire life. And that day in particular, that person might have had an experience that has made them boil, right? They are on the verge of losing it, of snapping it. And here you come, the dumbass, and you're going to push the final button. And that person is going to ruin your whole career. Okay. And what's so fascinating to me, hilarious actually, is that all of these people who just think that they can do and say whatever and get away with it, they never conceive of the fact, of the truth, that one day somebody will absolutely ruin their whole career. And of course, this is a metaphor, of course, right? So perhaps people who have this need to mess with other people, maybe my advice to you is to mind your own business, bro. Be very careful who you talk to and how you talk to them. What tone do you use, right? Be very careful how you treat other people, right? Because you might engage with somebody that has, harbored these ideas that life is a joke, that nothing really matters, and that they might be so desperate to commit something, a tragedy, a travesty, if, somebody pushes their buttons. And here you come in, completely ignorant, absolutely confident, and you are going to get wrecked. And because of your silly, goofy nonsense, because of you will be the reason for yet another travesty and tragedy committed. Because you just couldn't step back and mind your own business, right? Some people have this notion that they are all this, that they are unparalleled. They have never considered that there might be a bigger fish, lying in wait just for them. There will, I don't care who you are, there will always be somebody better, bigger, stronger, whatever than you. I don't care if you're the toughest of tough guys. It doesn't matter. There will always be somebody that will be tougher, meaner than you. And that person might not have anything to live for. That person might not care if he or she dies. And because that person has suffered humiliation after humiliation, no respect whatsoever, belittled, that person will assume that maybe I'm gonna enforce some payback, and it's gonna be a lot of times it's random, right? The person gets triggered and, well, another catastrophe, right? So my advice to you is, mind your own business, be very careful of other people, stay away from other people. Don't engage with everybody, okay, for whatever reason. Don't be so sociable all the time. It might spell disaster for you. In particular, you see, you gotta open your eyes, you gotta listen, you gotta, survey your surroundings. You gotta examine and analyze the mannerisms of certain people. This is what I have done, and it has saved me a lot of times, because in the past I used to have, an explosive temper, unfortunately, and there were times when people bothered me and I was on the brink of, exploding in a tantrum, right? But I slowly learned the hard way that perhaps maybe I should learn to control this. Maybe I should just mind my own business, right? This is very important, folks, right? Whenever people wonder why, schools and other establishments produce youngsters who are ready to enact violence, right? I mean, it's plain as day. Belittling and mockery for years that can fill a person with venom. And this is what I have learned: that the people that you assume to be extremely weaker than you, they're meek, they're pathetic, you expect absolutely no reaction from them but, submission and, servitude. It's those people that you should be extremely cautious of, because those people are capable of extremes, right? Never underestimate the limitless potential for cruelty in human beings, because there is a reckoning for everybody, right? Absolutely. People have to learn to mind their own business, to step away, to negate and reject the ego. That people, for some reason, have this sick need to posture around and poise themselves, for attention, to leave an impression. I have learned that this type of behavior might rub some people the wrong way. You might be obnoxious and you might not know it. And you might know it and you might be in love with it, right? Which is a terrible thing, right? Because this happens in increments, in years. The person that you mock year after year, it wears them down. Because they are worn down, reason, common sense, even, the instinct of preservation, even those will be nullified, right? Because of your disrespect. And what you have now is a dangerous animal. The most dangerous of animals are those who sidestep, consequences, right? A person who snaps doesn't is it the a person who snaps isn't interested in consequences, repercussions, and such. What you have now is a live grenade in the form of a human being that is now akin to a beast. You have unleashed a beast unknowingly, right? And because of your treatment of this person or persons, these people might develop, let's call it, a nature of pure evil. Because of how you treated them, they're going to assume that pretty much every single person is the same as you. Now we have dehumanizing. Now we have generalizing, right? A lot of people, let's say they have a bad experience with a person from a culture or of a background, and they might assume that because of this, then maybe all of those people are exactly the same. You see, this is very simplistic, right? But it is a frequent occurrence, right? So if somebody gets bullied at school, they might assume that pretty much everybody in that school is against them, that the world is against them, and hate slips in, right? Hate slips in, evil is there, it's a seed, it grows, it germinates, and you have a calamity on your hands, Never underestimate the limitless potential for cruelty that human beings possess. This is truly, it astonishes me time and time again what people would do to one another, right? And the reason why people commit these vile acts is because, of course, at the base of every atrocity lies usually a kid, a young person that has been mistreated, laughed at, picked on, right? And the seeds of evil and malice, they they became chronic over time. This is what happens, right? And since we are, as a species, so inclined, for retribution, for vengeance and revenge, I mean, what can you expect other than the worst of the worst, right? A lot of people who think that they can do whatever, they imagine that nothing bad can happen to them, right? I mean, it isn't so, right? Be very careful of other people. You might never know with whom you are messing. This truth cannot be denied. We have a a sort of we have a tendency for evil. We are wed to evil behavior. And because we are, this way, we think that it's great to harass others who we might view as below us. And because of our evil nature, because of the evil thing that we do to another person, guess what? We insert in them, a kernel of evil. So we spread the evil. And that evil that you have committed will come back to haunt you. Right? I've always believed in karma. Karma is real. I have seen it in action time and time again. But this is the thing with karma. If you slap somebody for whatever reason, you're not just going to get a slap back. You're going to get it thousandfold in many variations. And you will not expect. And most of all, you will not assume that this is because some stupid shit you did 25 years ago, right? This is how karma operates, right? This is how evil behavior is punished time and time again, right? One day you're going to wake up and everything around you will crumble to dust, right? And you will be powerless to do anything to stop it. I mean, it's so shocking, even to someone like me, who's done so much research on the topic of evil, right? That so many people, they're just so mean-spirited, spiteful, malicious, right? Heinous, whatever word you want to use. And they do all of these silly little things to irritate and upset others just because. I mean, they do it without thinking, bro. Right? They do it without thinking just because they have nothing else to do, because it is in their nature to do so, this evil. It is in them. They have been born with it, right? Not to say that I'm an angel, but at least I learned, from my mistakes. I'm a bit self-aware, at least, right? So that's why this is one of the reasons why I stay away from people, right? Because I completely and totally understand what human beings are capable of. It is those that you assume to be below you that will maybe, bring hellfire to your doorstep, right? Right. And since most people are, let's call it, hostile or filled with animosity regarding other people. It is in our nature to be so. This is the kind of pathetic animal we are, right? Most people, they commit these silly, hateful things, these little things, out of reflex, out of instinct. So imagine what somebody can do if that person has been, oppressed and marginalized and belittled all his or her life, right? A person might assume that there is nothing to live for because throughout his or her life, all they got was shit. All they got was negativity. So they might assume that it's better to just cause some mayhem and check out of this life, right? Evil begets evil. And people are responsible for this evil, whether they act innocent or not. It is so. Negligence is one of the major causes for evil. And I truly believe this, right? The reason why all of these atrocities happened in war times and in peace times, it's happening now. It cannot be denied. All of these atrocities happened, are happening, and will happen is because somebody picked on somebody for no reason whatsoever, and that person who got picked on was just filled with poison. They were envenomed, and they made a promise that one day they would rise to the occasion and bring hellfire to everyone. This is what happens, folks. So maybe it is for the best that you should really look at yourself, analyze how you treat certain people, right? And maybe you will discover that you weren't so delicate and refined and mannered as you assumed to be. And maybe you should correct some of these patterns of, let's call it, toxic conduct, right? Everywhere out there in the world, there is a seed of evil that is waiting to flower into chaos, into carnage. And there will be some dumbass out there who will press those buttons and unleash yet another disaster upon the world, right? But that's about it. If you want to support your boy, I got a few books on Amazon in which I tackle some of these, important subjects like evil. The link will be down below. Thanks for watching. See ya.